Hey, it's David Shelton, broker at Century 21 Advantage, bringing you another episode of Real Value. Hey, Generation Alpha peeps. Hopefully I said that right. Anyway, oh, this is a guy who's a grandpa, right? But we're talking about Gen Alpha are people that are born starting around 2010. So that puts you at 12 years old. If you're listening to this, right on. And if you're not in that generation, but you know someone that is, hey, plug them into this, because we started young with Gen Alpha, building places with Legos. There's a thing called Minecraft that's out there where you build cities and worlds, right? So it's something that, while it is in the virtual space, it's gamified. The reality is real estate is the natural transition for you. So you've been spending your youth building things, building these alternative worlds. Yeah, maybe you have some wars and some skirmishes and all that stuff in the midst of all those things, but really you've been able to, I used to use Lincoln logs, and they basically, you were building log cabins, and I think there was something after that, but I'm not quite sure, but it was probably more technically challenging, so I didn't bother doing it. I played guitar at that point. But building and building upon what you're building is super, super cool. And you could do it. A lot of people think that if you're in that Gen Alpha, in that 10 years old, or really 0 to 12 years old, you may be thinking like, hey, it's so far beyond me. Start thinking about it now. What do you want your future to look like? What would you like to do? I know there are a lot of broken homes where there's single parent homes in this generation. And you may be thinking like, I just want to be able to buy my mom a house. We've been living in an apartment. It's achievable. You want to get out of the city, maybe into the country on some land and have animals and just have that kind of lifestyle. It's achievable. You may want to get from a small town to a big town. It's achievable. And you may want to go from a big town in a congested city to a smaller town where you feel like you can wave hi at someone. And let me tell you a story. When I was 16 years old, I was traveling with my family, and we were in Clovis, New Mexico at a family reunion. And I remember hopping in the car with my great uncle Raymond. And my uncle Raymond, cool guy, he was a plumber with his brothers. They had wall plumbing in Southern California, did commercial plumbing. But when Uncle Raymond got in his car back in New Mexico, Uncle Raymond was with his hands on the steering wheel. He'd be driving, and then he'd be going like this. Every car that passed, every truck that passed, he'd be doing this little two-finger wave. And I asked him, I said, Uncle Raymond, you know a lot of people here. He said, no. He goes, son, when you're here, everybody's your friend. You know, in California, they're giving each other a different finger and a different wave. But at least that was my experience. A lot of frustration, but man, when you get in the country and you get chill, it's a great experience. I remember going to New York, not driving this time, but walking. And I thought, coming from Southern California, going to New York, I'd fit right in. Man, the speed at which people move in New York is a whole different speed. I was totally laid back compared to New York. But I remember asking a police officer for directions. And I remember I was looking up. I was one of those tourists that are looking up, and there's crowds trying to get back and forth to work or wherever it is they're going. And I remember asking a police officer, surely this is someone who would take a moment. And he was pretty short with me, asking him for directions. And I quickly learned that even though he was there, he was on duty, he was doing his job. His job wasn't to be giving directions to a young man looking to get from one place to another. I needed to do some education. I needed to educate myself on where I was going. So right now, you're consuming information. You are being educated in multiple platforms. Your generation is like none other. You have a lot coming at you. You have a lot of people telling you there's no right or wrong answer. You have a lot of people telling you that You could be whatever you feel like in the moment. And of course, we know that our feelings are all over the place as we're developing, as in our maturing. So I just want to encourage you that if you've got a dream, if you want to be like someone, and it's a good influence on you, not a destructive influence, then go ahead and put a place marker there. Go ahead and learn about them. Learn about the things in life that are really important. Learn about how to be kind even though you may not feel like being kind in that moment. Learn about being generous even though you may have little, right? Learn about these things that would set you apart. Learn how to express your feelings without anger. Learn to listen, to ask questions and listen to people. These are things that you could do as a youngster growing up, as a child, someone who's 10, 12 years old or even younger. You could be curious, and that curiosity could lead to you solving a problem, whether it's some problem in life that you've yet to realize. So I can't say that I'm your realtor, right? But what I can tell you is that I want to encourage you to keep on, to not give up. When you get to a place to where you feel like giving up, pull up that strength. I know for me, I remember as a young boy, and my first death that I experienced in my memory in our family was my great-grandfather Clancy. And I remember just not knowing who God was, but I cried out and I just said, hey, God, why didn't you take me instead? I'm young and he's so valuable. And that was a real interesting moment in life. So you may have moments like that as well. I encourage you to find someone that you know that cares about you and just talk to them about the things of life. And when it's time to start thinking about where am I going to live after I'm out of the home, we're here to help you. We're here to be with you along the way. Whether it's you've been playing games, you've been building things online. It's time to do some things in life, and there's a great transfer of wealth that's occurring, that will be occurring from my generation to yours, and from the silent generation that's older than me, and it'll be coming toward you, and you'll have great responsibilities, great opportunities, and we just want to encourage you that are 0 to 12 years old right now, that you've got a great future ahead of you, and we're going to be there to help make sure that it stays that way. Thanks.
Say hello to the greatest tool to share your story with the world, using Active Image by turning any 2D image into a 5D experience, enhancing your connection with the viewer in real time using augmented reality. Try it today, activeimage.com.